Hi, welcome to Matt Holman Golf. Thought we'd take a look at some pitching fundamentals today. I've got on the left hand side a close up my grip when I'm pitching there, and then right hand side just a face on. Some footage from a lesson at the Leadbetter Academy at Champions Gate a little while ago when I was taking a lesson with Hogan. I thought I'd just share with you a few of the things that I was working on here, and maybe they'll help your game. So first things first, let's maybe go through a few of the fundamentals, and then I can maybe tell you specifically what I was talking or what I was working on here. One really for these shots, let's get the ball relatively in the middle of our ankles, or maybe just ahead is fine there. I try and really line the leading edge of the club face up in the middle of the ankles. If the ball starts to get too far back there, we can tend to get too much shafting through impacts, and the club will dig in, and especially in Florida in the Bermuda grass, we're trying to avoid that leading edge entering into the ground first, because it tends to really grab the grass and the club gets stuck in the ground. I like to, from the work that I've done with James Seekman, just feel my nose and my sternum is just ahead of the ball, so I'm slightly sort of stacked left in my pitch shots. We can put a couple of lines on here. Now as I swing up, I'm trying to stay relatively centered. This was me hitting about an 80-yard pitch with a 58-degree wedge, so I'm going to stay quite centered there. I'm really working to retain my swing radius from the shaft to my left arm. I don't want to get too narrow. So now from the top there, I'm going to have a slight lateral movement forward. It's not going to be quite as exaggerated in the pitch shots to maybe in the full swing. So you can see I'm very much covering, if anything, even moving slightly forward of where I started, because I've got a real shallow release coming on. I'm allowing myself to release the shaft so the leading edge doesn't dig. And that creates an impact position where I'm getting a balance of steep and shallow movement. So with the upper body I'm quite stacked and covered, which will create some steepness to the swing, and then through impact I'm releasing the shaft, which adds some shallowness, and then we end up sort of the right balance, and we end up with the club shaft pretty much straight up and down just past impact. From now I'm then not going to try and hold on to the angle. I'm just going to keep everything moving through and release the shaft. So what was I working on specifically here? Well, on the left hand side actually we were just talking a little bit about the grip. So often this was sort of at the end when we had made the changes, they talk about slightly weaker grip, left hand grip, where we can only see, so you can see clearly sort of 2 knuckles here, talk about sort of a 1 knuckle grip. And I think for very specific shots where we want lots of loft, the club really opening, I think that's a good way to go. The only problem if we do that in slightly fuller pitch shots, I actually get the face a little too open and the ball tends to ride up the face and we don't actually get any forward momentum. So Sean just felt my grip was a little bit weak, so we just went back to 2 knuckle grip. We also got the grip a little bit more in our fingers and made sure the V was just pointing off to our right shoulder, and the line from our right thumb and index were pretty much sort of matching there. So that just strengthened up the club face by a couple of degrees in the backswing and just helped me feel like I could press the ball forward a little bit more. A couple of other adjustments we made here from what I would usually do. We just felt we pressed the hip a little bit more forward to give me a bit more of a descending blow, and then I just felt that I was pulling from here a little harder off that front side, a slightly more clearance with the left leg and the left shoulder. So I've worked a lot on James Seekman's thoughts, and I really like his stuff where he really talks about kinematic sequence. So from here, first thing that moves is club, head, followed by arm, followed by our sort of shoulder and lat, and then followed by the hips and legs nearly actually after we hit the ball. And I think the great pitchers definitely do that, and it's a relatively wide, shallow movement. Problem with golf, as in anything, you know, you can tend to overdo those things. So I was just slightly overdoing it here. Just felt this position here should be a little bit more straight up and down in the shaft. So when I just slightly strengthened that grip at the end and then pulled slightly harder off the front side, it's allowed me to get a slightly more penetrating ball flight.